Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Alasdair, and I'm Head of Digital Transformation here at CloudCover IT. For anyone who isn't familiar with CloudCover IT, we're an IT managed service provider and a digital transformation company based in Glasgow. Our mission here at CloudCover is to provide organisations with innovative IT solutions that increase productivity and efficiency. And as a Microsoft partner, we utilise Microsoft technologies to help us achieve that mission. In today's session, what we'll be discussing is our Microsoft Teams app, which was recently brought into the store, and it's called Gauge.it. So Gauge.it helps foster that employee well-being by helping leaders stay connected to their employee regardless of their location. Aims to empower employees by giving them the ability to share how they're feeling openly and honestly on a daily basis, providing the leaders of the business with valuable insights into team morale and well-being. So today's session, I'll be discussing a wee bit about employee well-being to start with, and I'll highlight the key features of Gauge.it as well. And then what we'll do is we'll finish up with a live demo. So what I'll do there is take you onto Teams and run through setting up for user and highlighting the key functionality within the application. Of course, if you have any questions, Emma's at hand, please do feel free to submit them through the Q&A tab. And what I'll do is I'll answer some of these if we've got time at the end of the session. So starting, we'll just have a simple definition of what employee well-being actually is. When referring to employee well-being, we're referring to the state of the employee's physical and mental health, and that can result in issues ranging from within the business and outside the workplace as well. So if we start to look at a couple of stats, employee wellbeing has been very much a hot topic over the last few years, mainly because of the shift to the remote and hybrid structure of working, which was put in place through the pandemic, and ultimately has had an impact on mental health of employees worldwide. Even although we're in a more settled time and people are getting into a routine of work in terms of flexible working, there are still challenges that remain, and employee well-being is one of them that's having a negative effect. As you can see on the screen, 48% of employees say that their well-being has declined over 2022. 60% of home workers report feeling less connected to their colleagues, and 44 report increased stress or mental health problems caused by working remotely. One of the fundamental things as a business lead, one of the other results of that is organisations ultimately losing valuable team members or ultimately struggling to recruit. When we started to look at some of the data, when we started to think about Gauge.it as a product, we looked at recent studies, and what it showed that well-being is now a top priority for employees. 77% of employees stated that they would consider leaving a company if it didn't focus on well-being, and 83% of employees believe that their well-being is just as important as other factors, such as salary. And lastly, 85% of the employees confirming they were more likely to stay in their role if they felt that well-being was a focus of the business. So important things there. So with those stats, this is how ultimately Gauge.it came about. We ourselves had this experience when we were working remotely across the pandemic, and one of the main factors there, for me especially, was the fact that when you have a team in the office and working together, you can clearly see when the team's not working so well. The morale is low, people are having bad days consistently, and you can engage with the team at that point and talk to them, figure out what's going wrong in the team. It can just be a simple thing that needs to change, and we do not get that when we've got everyone working at home. And this is what ultimately inspired the idea of Gauge.it. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to make our product as straightforward as possible. And ultimately, as more people have moved to remote working, Microsoft Teams has become such a fundamental aspect of their life, their working lives. So we wanted to keep our solution embedded in that platform. We wanted to keep it straight, user-friendly, and we also wanted to automate it in a sense so no one, there was consistent messages going back and forth between the line manager and the employees. So looking at that, what we're going to do is I'm going to pick 3 key features at the moment of Gauge.it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the demo. So firstly, the concept is very simple. Leaders simply can send a daily request to employees to rate their day through the Teams platform. The team leader has full control of when they request when the team member will get that bot message. And the employees that get included in that list will receive that each day automatically. One thing to highlight, and I'll highlight that in the demo as well, the structure that's put in place is through your Active Directory. And ultimately, if you have a report, they will show up on the platform. Here we see the bot message that the employee gets each day. The employee will simply be prompted to select the emoji that represents how they're feeling for that day. As you can see, they can choose from 5 options, from very happy down to angry. There is also an option to leave a comment, and what we've done there is after feedback, we've made that comment anonymous. So as the user leaves the comment, 2 things happen. The manager gets the message the next day, and one reason for that is to increase that level of anonymous data, especially if people are working at slightly different times throughout the day, or people are away on work, they could potentially tell when someone's putting their comment in. So what we do is we collect that data and then we present it to the line manager the following day. And how we do that? They receive a breakdown and they receive 2 formats. They receive the comments that come in, and they also see it in a format of the graphs, where they can clearly see what the most common feedback is across the team. We can also look back. It also captures the data from varying time, so you can look back week to week to see how that morale within the team has been changing. Okay, and yeah, the last slide here before we go into the demo. Utilising Gauge.it gives leaders the essential insights into the morale of the team, allowing you to quickly identify and react to any change. Obviously, we don't want to take away from communication. So the idea of the Gauge.it gives the line manager the idea that something's wrong in the team, and then it's up to them as a manager to decide how action is taken. That can be by simply doing some team building, or engaging with them on a one-to-one level. And that could be through things like PDRs, simple one-to-ones, or just a general, let's get everyone in the office for a catch-up. Okay. So let's go to the demo. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try the impossible and run 3 or 4 multiple Teams tenancies on one machine. So I'm going to go to Nestor. So I've got 3 people that I'm going to show you. There's Nestor, who's ultimately director of this big business. It's going to go down to Miriam. And then it's going to go down to Megan if we've got time here. Ultimately, this highlights that what I said during the slides. It pulls through the Active Directory of the tenancy. So Nestor will see all his reports, and then Miriam will see their reports as well. So I'm just going to move this camera slightly to the side here, so it's like my face. So to get started, because this is a Gauge.it product, is in the Teams App Store, all we need to do here is go into that store. For anyone that's not been in here, it's an absolutely fantastic place to go and see what apps are available to embed into your Teams environment. There's a whole host of different applications that range from things like Gauge.it, which is a standalone product, right up to some of the plugins into some of your favorite third-party applications. So give it a look. So I'm just going to go into productivity tools at the moment under the category. And what we can see is Gauge.it sitting alongside the sister product, Check It, but we're here to talk about Gauge.it. So what you do, you click on it, and at this stage you've got two options. For now, what you'd want to do if it's the first time downloading the application, you want to hit add. With the application comes 30-day free trial, so you don't want to buy a subscription yet. Once the subscriptions ran out, you would go and buy this. Once the free trials ran out, you would go buy the subscription. So you want to add that to your Teams. Comes up here automatically. And what we can do here is we get it started. And what I will say, just as we go to get started, I have seeded some of the data. I put a bit of fake data into the dashboard that I'm about to show. When you get started, this dashboard will be fresh, and there'll obviously be no data in it. So you get a welcome message when you first start it up, and I'm going to get started. The free trial for everyone is 30 days. It's not 945 days, which is our free trial on our development tenancy. So bear that in mind. So looking at the dashboard, when we first open it up, we have two options. We have your morale and you have Teams morale here. Ultimately, what we do, when you capture your data, you will be able to see what you've put into the system as well. So when you come into it, if you do not have a team set up, it automatically lands on the team morale. Your morale. What you want to do, if you do have reports underneath here, as Nestor does, we can go to team morale here. And what we would do in the first instance is we would set that up. So what we would do here is we would manage the team. And what we can see is we can see all our reports, which we saw in the organizational chart, sitting in the task list. Now, when we're setting up, we have two options. We're able to name the team and we're able to set the the time that the card gets sent out to the user. So what I'm going to do at the moment, it is just before the quarter past. So we're going to do 16. We'll see if I can get it in time. And what we're going to do is we're going to add Miriam into this group here as well. So I'm going to hit save. And if I jump up to Miriam for a wee second, what Miriam will get is a message to welcome her to Gauge.it. It's proactively installed. So if you've got multiple team members, all you need to do is add them into that team. And then what they'll do is they'll automatically get the message. And when the message comes through, they get to know the team that they've been added into. I will come back to that in a wee second because we've still got another minute or so before the bot message gets sent. So coming back to the dashboard for the manager, what we've got here is, firstly, we can see the notification time and we can see the 7 members that are in the team here. What we do is if we go back to manage the team and start taking people out of it, what you see is a wee warning icon. Ultimately, we don't limit how many people can be in that team. It can be 1 person or as many as you want. However, the recommendation for anonymous data is 5 and more. So what we do is we just put a wee bit of a notification on and I'll show you how that affects the end user in a wee second. So I'm just going to cancel that for a wee second. And what else we've got up here is we have the average morale for each day throughout the week. And the data that we're seeing here is based on a weekly run of data. And what we can do is we can go back as far as we like. The database is not seeded that far back. And then we'll come back to today. What we've got here is we can see how many people within the team are engaging with the application. And what we see here is the results from that. And that's where we can see the dashboard, the graphic. And what we can do is we can start to filter down how many people are giving each response. What we've also got here in this dashboard is we've also got the comments that are coming through. And again, these are anonymous. However, what you can see is you can see the response that's been given with that bit of information as well. What you can also do is you can also filter down and you can see the results that you only want to see. So if I just want to see on my neutral, or if angry is the most important, then I can filter down to see those ones. As it stands, the dashboard is fully enclosed. What we're looking at doing in the short term is you will be able to export this data shortly and send it to HR or to director reports if required. But at the moment, all the data stays in Gauge.it. So what we're going to do at the moment is we're going to leave Nesta and we're jumping over to Miriam. So jumping over to Miriam, what we can see here is as it's hit the quarter past mark, we've had our message. What Miriam gets told is because of that concept around anonymous data, what we added in was we added in a wee bit of a notification to tell the user how many people are also getting that card. So there's 7 people in the group. That means 6 other members are also getting that card there. That stops that concept of a manager only inviting one user into the group and ultimately hiding the fact that there's no one else in it. So what I'll do here is I'll go very happy. And then what it does is at that stage, it captures the data. So if you were to hit very happy and walk away from the machine, we capture that, the data, and send it to the line manager. However, what we also can do is write our message, and then we can share the feedback. And that's all the user has to do for each day. At this point, as I said, we hold that Gauge.it holds the data, and it's not till the following day that it's presented back to the line manager. So as Miriam, I can go in and view my dashboard. And what's happened here is it's landed on your morale, Miriam's morale here. And again, what we can see is her input for the week. She's been quite active and has got 100%. And we can also filter down on the dates, same as what we've got there. Miriam can also see how the team that she's in, when she's going to get the notification, and how many team members are in that one. If I jump over to team morale, what we see here is she's not got a morale set up. So what I could do here is I can go in and add a team. And I'll call it test team. And what we'll do is we'll put a notification time of 25. And what I want to do here is I'm just going to add 3 people into the group. So I get my warning message, however, I can still move forward with it. Now what that's doing there is that's going away and actively installing the application onto the 3 people's teams. What you will do is when you set up Gauge.it in the first instance, there will be a wee pop-up that asks for permissions, and ultimately that's on your tenancy. What it's just doing there is you just need to consent for all across the business, and then you can do proactive installing. You can also add people if you didn't want to do that and get them to manually install Gauge.it themselves. So what we've done there is Miriam's got her team set up. She's got 3 members in it, and she's at 425. The message gets sent out to her reports. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump to Megan. So what Megan's got here is, again, Megan's got that message to say that she's been added to the test team. And like we did with Miriam, it's a get started. Now, the difference with Megan compared to the other members of the team is if we jump back to Miriam for a wee second, what Miriam's able to do is they're able to delete the team and take everyone out. But at the same time, they can go back and create a new team. What Megan can't do is she's unable to create a team because there's no reports that sit underneath her. So all that happens is Megan gets a wee message just to say there's no reports. Obviously, if that's not correct, then the admin within your tenancy can go set up the Active Directory correctly. So that kind of gives you a brief understanding of what Gauge.it is. I think I'm on time there. Yes, 8 minutes to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the floor up to any questions.
That was great. Thank you, Alasdair. We have had some questions in the chat, so thank you very much to anyone who submitted one. The first one is someone's commented saying that they've actually only got a small team. They want to know, is there a minimum number of team members required for them to use Gauge.it?
I think that was put in quite at the start, so it come in. No, as I said before, we had taken that limit off. There's just that wee warning message that sits on the application to say that anonymous data is 5 and over on the recommendation side. But no, there's nothing stopping you. As long as your Active Directory is set up correctly, there's nothing stopping you using it as a small team.
Perfect, thank you. And another question here is, can individual employees, can they see their own and their team members' responses?
No, it's only the employee can see their own messages, and if they've got a team, that's the only kind of thing that they can see. No one can see each other's message.
Perfect, thank you. And we've got another question here just asking, does this work on the Teams mobile application on iPhone and Android, or is it just on a PC only?
So what we did with that one is, let me just go back up the dashboard. So because the line manager is often checking this in the morning through the user testing that we did, the dashboard isn't available on the mobile. However, the important part for the application is getting that feedback from the users. So when they get the chat, so when they get the pop-up with the emotion coming through, that is available, that is working on the mobile. So if they've got Gauge.it installed, they'll get their wee message through the mobile Teams application. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then we have a question here from Andrew just asking, is there a flow capability built in here? For example, if there's a manager that's not picking up on the angry faces for their team, can their manager then be notified that there's an unhappy team and that the manager isn't picking that up? So
we looked at, so this is something we're looking at the moment. So originally with the application, it was a concept that the line manager was there to lead the team and use the data as they felt fit. As it's gone through V2, which the product currently is, there has been that conversation of how do we deal with an underperforming manager ultimately, and how do we get that data out. The thought process there, Andrew, that you speak about is the concept kind of that waterfall method of using the data. That is one option that we're thinking of going down. The other option is to export the data or send it to a certain level of permission group within the business. The one thing we didn't want was someone like the CEO sitting at night and going through everyone's team ultimately, and picking up on comments that potentially the line manager understands, but the CEO of the business isn't aware of and would read into it in the wrong way, and ultimately starts to micromanage on the morale side of things. Also secondary to that, the users knowing that potentially the higher ups within the business can see that data, had a bit of a negative effect on the feedback that we were getting originally on the application. So we are looking at that at the moment in terms of the roadmap and how we actually get that data to other people in the business, but we're trying to do it in a way that it's sensitive to what the core product is all about.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. I think that's all of the questions we've got at the moment, Alasdair. So I'll hand it back to you to finish up there. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks Emma. So yeah, just to finish up then, so first step for anyone that's interested in it is obviously going to the Teams App Store, hitting download and activating the 30-day free trial for you to try it with your team. Of course, any issues or any other questions, please feel free to message us. Okay, so I think my last slide is just a thank you, and I believe Emma, you'll be sending out these links after it's finished.
That's right. They're currently in the chat if anyone would like to follow up.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for listening.